Good afternoon, welcome to my kitchen. For those of you that are new, my name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. So I've got a lot of flies here today. I'm doing my very best to chase them, but they are persistent as. I've got all the screens shut, all the doors shut, and I don't know how they're getting in. But as always, flies find a way. I absolutely hate flies. And it is really hard to, be nice when there's flies everywhere. Rightio. So I'm doing a Mexican stack, so I'm changing it up a little bit. I've used the browning mode. I've done the brown beef mince on cookie dough, and I'm going to do the Mexican stack. Now I don't have any zucchini, but I had everything else. So let's start cooking. Preheat the oven to 180. I'll do that in a minute. Line a round casserole dish or a rimmed pizza tray with baking paper. So I've got the round Fira green cast iron, and I've just got a piece of baking paper in the bottom. And now we're going to grate up some cheese. So I don't know, people that have been watching, I've been mentioning that I need to do the egg and, look at my hair, the egg and eggshell and lemon wash on that bowl, and I haven't got there yet. So 200, I don't know. Let's start with that and see how it goes. This has been sitting out of the fridge for a little tiny bit. It usually grates a lot better when it's really cold. Let's cut into 3 centimetre pieces, so tear, which is like that. 150, what do we got? Oh, we got 138. Hey, let's go with that. Yeah, and I'll put that there. Next, they wanted 2 spring onions trimmed and cut into quarters. Spring onions or shallots. So I've got, shallots to me are the little tiny pink onions, and spring onions are the long ones. The long ones you get in the cold section with the celery. So that's the ones I've used. I've just got 2 of them and I've cut them into quarters. I haven't got any parsley. Now it says 2 garlic cloves. So that is, that's just some minced garlic. So that's just one thing which I count as 2 garlic cloves. If I'm only going to put in 1, then I cut it in half. They cut it, even from frozen, it cuts in half really well. 10 seconds on speed 5. Okay. And this is the first time I've made this and added the meat in. I just thought it would be good, something good to try. So now I'm going to put this aside because I've got the bowl. I've just cooked the meat in. I'll just show you, we got most of it out, but I want to take advantage of those browned bits on the bottom there. So it said 1 brown onion cut in half, so I used a piece of red onion to make guacamole, so I'm going to use the rest of that in there. Not going to put chilies because there's a few of the people in my family that don't like chilies. 2 cloves of garlic. And now we're going to put the lid on. 3 seconds, speed 7. Rightio. Scraping down the sides with the spatula. I always enjoy pulverising a whole onion that's just been peeled and cut in half in seconds, because we're still getting reasonably sized pieces. You know, it gives us like a fine dice effect. A tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm going to weigh that as 20 grams. So if we go to our 3 little dots here next to the where it says next, we can select scales. Oops, that's nearly 30 grams. Okay, and it says to place the simmering basket on top instead of the mixing bowl. Now I'm not going to do that because what I've actually used my simmering basket for is to rinse and drain the red kidney beans. But I mean, 3 minutes, 120 on speed 1, and I'll be back. So next, so it says 1 red capsicum, approximately 220 grams, deceived and cut into pieces. Now I want to see if they mean rightio. I was just making sure that I was on the right page with this. So 220. So I've got half a red capsicum here. I want to see what that weighs. Okay. And then I've got this one. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Just got too much stuff on the bench. Okay, next, a zucchini. So I've got no zucchini. 100 grams of fresh corn kernels. So you can use frozen if you want. These are, I just had some cobs of corn that I cut the kernels off of. So I'm going to put the lid on with the mixing cup, with the measuring cup. 5 seconds, speed 7. Okay, let's have a look at that. Yum. Now we want the 400 grams of red kidney beans, a can, and then rinsed and drained, and then once that, it's like your approximate weight's going to be 250. I'm pretty sure that you can, if you want to, just use dried ones, but cook them first. If we have a look at the recipe detail, I can scroll down. It says you can use thawed frozen corn instead of fresh corn kernels. If you use a pizza tray, make sure it has a lip around to keep the filling and the cheese contained. You can replace the canned beans with dried beans, soaked and cooked. And then it says to serve with a garden salad, steamed vegetables or cooked black beans. Rightio. And then they're talking about how to prevent flatulence. So 70 grams of tomato paste. I don't know. Thought I got a spoon out. I must have. I think I did put it in the dishwasher because I couldn't work out where that spoon had come from. Okay. Perfect. 400 grams of canned tomatoes. Now I didn't know what they wanted, so I've got diced. Now I just grab these, and these ones have got tomatoes, 60% tomato juice and an acidity regulator, which is citric acid. So I usually like the ones that are like 100% tomato, but they'll do. Oh, there is a bin down there that I just threw that into. Now, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. Two teaspoons of ground coriander. And 2 teaspoons of ground paprika. This is a sweet Hungarian paprika. I have got so many different types of paprika, it's scary. Okay. 2 teaspoons of raw sugar. I'm pretty sure I've got one in here that is a 10 ml scoop, so we might use that, so I'm not putting spices into my raw sugar. Okay. And then this is a half teaspoon one. There it is. A half to a teaspoon of sea salt. And then a half to a teaspoon of ground black pepper. I'm just doing a half of each. And then we want the simmering basket on top, which I can do this time because there was no flies in there, were there? No. Because I've taken the beans out. 15 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 1. And we'll be back once we get to the next step. Okay, next. Now we're going to add another 100 grams of our fresh corn kernels, and once again, they say you can use frozen. And I don't know what this weighs, but that's how much I'm going to add. I'll just see. We'll go slowly. Maybe not all of that. Now I'm going to add it all. Okay. Now we're going to put the lid back on with the measuring cup this time. 5 seconds. Speed 3 with the blade in reverse. With the with the guided cooking, I mean, I know I make a point of telling you that the blade's in reverse, but when I'm just cooking, that's what I really love about the guided cooking, is I don't have to make sure the blade's in reverse, because if it needs to be in reverse, then the guided cooking will just make sure it's in reverse. Right, yeah. I'm going to move this here, and then we'll come back and we'll go on with the next step. Yeah. It said place a layer of flatbread onto the base of the prepared dish and spread 2 to 3 tablespoons of corn mixture. So, smoothing with spatula. An awful lot of mixture if we're only going to be putting a couple of tablespoons on the top of each flatbread. That's okay. We'll see how it goes. We might have some left over. Now it said Lebanese bread, and I think it was a 6-pack, but I've got a 5-pack of this souvlaki bread, which I absolutely love. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a layer of this on, and then I'm going to put some meat on. Okay. I don't. Yes. So, I mean, that's how much we've got. So if we're only putting a couple of tablespoons on the top of each flatbread, we're not going to use it all. That's okay. I'm going to take it right to the edges. And then I want some of this mince. Get out flowers. I'll show you what I've done. Righty back. Get. I love these. I ordered these the Mexican stack in the cafe for lunch. I ordered a bit too, but it's never quite as good as the homemade one. I'm just taking this right to the edge, even if it runs over the edge a bit. It won't matter. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes with the meat added. done this a bit better, but I think I don't think I'm going to put any meat on the top. Now they're saying that it's going to make sure you've got an edge on your baking tray to make sure that this is a bit thick, but I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a peppercorn. Okay. Now I've got the oven on preheating to 180, or actually it's already preheated to 180. And we're going to put the cheese. What was in here? Cheese, garlic, and spring onion. Rightio. At 180 degrees. For 14 to 16 minutes, and then we'll be back to have a look. Alright, so this is really hot. We have to leave this to cool for a while, but I'm going to get a little tiny piece, and I've got some guacamole and some sour cream, and this is how we're going to serve it. And then I've got a fork already. So that's got a bit of the wrap, a little bit of the cheese, a touch of guac, and a little bit of everything. That's round back to front. Hang on, I did that badly. To that, I usually use frozen corn, but that fresh corn is actually so much nicer than frozen corn. And it's freezing corn's supposed to not really change the taste, but obviously the corn that I've used is really delicious. That there, now I've put no chilli in it. Normally I would put a bit of chilli in it, but that is really nice. That's been sitting for a while now, and it is absolutely yummy. So anyway, I feel that that was a good success with the putting the mince in it. I'm just going to have a little bite without anything on it. So, now I feel adding the mince layer really added extra, like really nice. So this has to, we've let it cool a little bit, but it has to, yes, we're going to serve it warm, and you would usually serve it with a salad, but there's like 4 of us, 5 actually, if you count the little one. And this is going to be more than enough for tea. And then I will have leftover for lunch next week. So anyway, I can't remember what I was saying. Right. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, could you please pop over to my channel and subscribe? And I really hope to see you next time.